This is an important video. Weber State. So the incredible story of Jay Hill, that he's gone. All this, as I call it, a snowball's chance in Hill. So let's walk out here. I don't want to be a part of these guys anymore. I mean, I'm that pissed. But this is important because nobody's more marquee in the historic turnaround of Weber State football, now declining again, than Jay Hill. But the person that is the metaphor for it all, who is here, the first great turnaround player here of this program, is Taron Johnson. TJ. He was here. He was here when Weber State, I mean, I think his first 2 years, I think maybe they won one game. Remember the snow pile here last year? Up to there. So we finally, I mean, nothing's more marquee in that turnaround than him. He just became the highest paid nickelback in the NFL, probably the highest paid one in the history of the NFL today. So there's a great picture of him and my little grandson. When he's little, that grandson's 13 years old now, and he's a marquee athlete in his own right now. So this is important for you NFL scouts who know shit. Well, I don't know that they know shit, but I think there's an actually conspiracy to not draft Big Sky players. By the way, ABE Williams will be a superstar in the NFL. He is going to play at Idaho. Now, how do you, don't even get me going on that. But the reason I want to put this video, where we're going to sit this, got to flip our soup can. I have to write a book. It's important that I do these videos, and I'm going to explain something here. I never intended to do the play-by-play for Weber State for KWCR. I never intended to be promoting these players and anything. It just kind of happened. How did it happen? I'll tell you how it happened. So, I was the marquee professor being prepped to take over the legendary finance Professor Clyde Cooley's program. And I was the biology guy, the BIS guy. I taught as a student professor over there at the #1 school business in the country. And then I fought him as the degenerate Weber State. He goes from the #1 school business in the country to under investigation by the FBI. I fought him and I fought him and fought him. Supply chain, it's a whole corrupt fucking nightmare. I work for Bruce Hanley, who tried to kill this program, blah, 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 blah. So this was the most corrupt, dirty football program in the country, bar none. Given the death penalty, that famous quote standing right there by the incredible Bruce Hanley. That dude was something else. Born and raised in Ogden, Utah. All-American here in the 60s. The Dean of Finance. I worked for him. In the 90s, when I was a student professor, you know, I'd go back from Wall Street, my Blanche classroom business. We got to kill it. We got to put men's soccer here. They were bleeding so much money. Sports Illustrated come here and did an interview. Standing right there. I'm standing next to him in the interview. What's the chance to turn this corrupt, dirty program, money bleeding thing, a snowball chance in hell? So I call this snowball's chance in hell. When I did the play-by-play. All those years as I was the student for free, just giving back to my community. Now, I had no intention to stay here. I had it with Weber State. Born and raised here in Ogden. And I was out. Came back in 2019. Of course, I never left. You know, I'd be around the world all over as the biologist, as the anti-nuclear, doing the due diligence, as the finance professor, as the biologist. I mean, I'm a biologist, scientist. And so I was coming back polishing up some IT skills to go to work in Europe. I mean, I had opportunities to go to work in Vienna and fighting the IAEA, and that's where the plant. Well, a freight train hit me, called ML leukemia 2011. Boom, out of nowhere, and I was given 2 months to live. And so this journey has been so hardcore and so epic, so I've made the most of it. I've been connected to that hospital across the street. So it's been 12 hours a day, 24/7. my fight to stay alive. The ML leukemia ravished my body. I went to a bone marrow transplant in 2011. Heavy chemo. I walked through here, could barely even walk. You know, and people are asking me, well, help us do the play-by-play, Manny Gonzalez. And I did. I don't know why I did, but I did. So, pseudo de facto, I became the podcaster, the promoter of the student athlete here, because nobody else would do it. So when Jay Hill came in here, I told him, are you out of your fucking mind? This is the most corrupt thing in the world. You know, I talked to him later about it. He says, yeah, I had no idea how bad it was. But the greatest turnaround I consider in sport history, I can't even think of another one. The more I run my mind around it, I was here for the whole turnaround. The first player that he got to recruit that became the marquee was Taron Johnson. Taron Johnson was here in the turnaround. So was I, fighting for my life, full of cancer. So Taron, in this freshman year, you know, he played against Bland, the Cowboys, that pick six. He played on that field right here in those days for Sac State. But Taron was the first player that really you started to take notice of. Jay Hill recruit. Remember, Jay Hill was a DB. Great DB. Incredible coach. Even a better recruiter. And so, as I watched this thing happen, Taron Johnson's first year, I don't even think they won a home game. I think they won one game all year. The second year wasn't much better. But his third year, they started. By his last year, they were in the quarterfinals of the national championship, which they should have won. They wouldn't even throw to him. He was that good. He was locked down. He got a break because of a coach who had a connection with the Bills, blah, 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 blah. But all these marquee players, none of them ever done anything for me. And, you know, I got financially wiped out. The school could have played for my cancer. They didn't. That's a whole other story. I was a millionaire. You know, I was a pretty famous scholar. I still am. So I've had to make the most of my time trying to stay alive. I've had open heart surgery twice, including this year. Well, a year ago. I just came from the doctor's office and was really melancholy over there. You know, my year scan off, I have a pacemaker. I lost my teeth. I lost my gallbladder. I was trying to raise my grandsons. That's another situation. And I had no intention to be stuck here at Weber State. Had no intention to do this, but I set up office here at the Stewart Library because as the biologist, the ecologist, doing the greatest PhD probably in human fucking history, the effects of the Fukushima disaster, that's the only stadium in the world named after a woman. Football stadium on Earth. Elizabeth D. Shaw, the merger of General Electric and Utah Construction, who built up the nuclear industry. When I was the number one, I taught at the number one school of business in the country. The number one, beating Wharton, beating freaking Harvard. I was the guy. I was being prepped to take over Dr. Cooley's program. He gets mad cow and dies. So, you know, I'm trying to hang in here, help them out, save the program on a press from Mike Vaughn from these professors who saved me. Like a fool, I did. I wish I wouldn't have, because they betrayed the shit out of me. So Manny Gonzalez is asking me, I love Manny, by the way, he bolted out of here, but when I'm in the bone marrow transplant center, because I always did the play-by-play for Weber State football off and on, and I love Weber State football. I did my whole life and watched the corruption. And then Jay comes in and he brought my light back into me. Jay did, Hill. He gave me hope again in this university. He gave me hope in this corrupt-ass school business I watched. These supply chain come in here and gut it and turn it into this corrupt piece of shit. You know, he brought hope into me, this dirty, corrupt program, that there was hope, that things could change. You know, he gave me hope because I watched the basketball program being declined, you know, and so he did a lot for me as far as my hope here in my town, in my place. I'm seventh generation here for my grandchildren. So I agreed. I'll help out. I'm full of cancer. I'm sucked up to 119 pounds. I'm dying of AML leukemia. I'm given no chance to live. That's a 1% survival rate. So I became connected with these football players and the basketball players pseudo de facto because I'm here 7 days a week because I'm tied to that fucking hospital. I lost my gallbladder. I lost all my teeth. I mean, I was a beast. I mean, a beast. I got hit by a freight train in 2011 in October. I mean, hit by a freight train called AML leukemia de novo. The survival rate of what I have is less than 1%. In fact, it's less than 1% of 1%. My doctor out of here, Finbo, and Vincent says, you're the greatest miracle in my career. So I stuck it out. 7 days a fucking week. So I tried to make the most of my time as the biologist and the scientist and just do the greatest PhD in history with no funding. No funding. So I agreed to do football. I agreed to, document this incredible turnaround. As Rashid Shaheed's mother told me, somebody needs to, I says, I am writing a book. You've been watching these videos? Publish. I saw the writing on the wall. So I watched Rashid Shaheed. I'm the first guy that called out Rashid from day one. I would travel on my own money to do the podcast and the games. So OPETA, he just signed with Tampa Bay. You got 5 players playing professional football off one Jay Hill team. TJ's the highest paid nickelback in the NFL, maybe in history as of today. Unreal, right? How about Rashid Shaheed? First player in the Pro Bowl in the history of the NFL, making the NFL minimum, undrafted. Who's the first guy that called out Rashid Shaheed as the marquee player and promoted him more than I did? Did Rashid ever do anything for him? No. Hell no. Did any of these players, did TJ ever do anything? No. OPETA do anything? Jonah, they're not going to do it. I don't care. That's okay with me. So the only player who's ever done anything, because I promoted this, because I knew there was a need. The Standard Examiner wasn't going to do it. The Tribune, the Salt Lake Press gave up on this freaking university long ago. I'm like, well, somebody's got to do it. So I did it via the radio station. And what did they get for that? They blackballed me. They turned their back on me. So last year, I did the play-by-play in San Diego for Weber State when Rashid ran back the kick on his birthday and would have won 7-6. This guy was a freshman. I called his name every other play. I'm sure that he broke the school record for tackles because the statisticians here don't do the proper job as a freshman in his first game. So I followed his career. I promoted him. I got to be friends with his mom and dad because they'd come up to the games. After his last game here, he's right there. I walk around here. He's still got his helmet on, and he's like, Kev, come here. He's a really quiet kid, like TJ. Doesn't say a lot. His dad, come here. He went over and he says, Kev, thank you for all your support. And he gave me this. And he signed it. For all my legendary work here, promoting players, that's the Swenson Gym right here, promoting basketball, promoting football, all my legendary work. What did I get for it? That's what I got. It means a lot to me. It really means a lot to me. I got really emotional that day when I left. Rashid would take the time to talk to my grandsons, which meant a lot. There's a picture out there somewhere where TJ is with my little grandson. He's about that big. I was so sick and full of cancer when TJ was playing. He would crawl down out of the stands and try to get on the field. The cheerleaders would have to tend him. And I did it all for free because that's what you're supposed to do, give back to your community. I'm fighting cancer. I needed good karma on me. So I don't think people understand my path and my story. The legendary scholar that I am, that I was. I mean, I was being prepped to take over the #1 school business in the United States. And think about it. We're beating Wharton. We're beating Princeton. We're beating Harvard. We're a public gem. Then Clyde Cooley gets mad cow out of no more Susan at the NBA and drops dead. So I was asked to take over the program for Kyle Madsen to help him. Like a dumbass I did. Big mistake because they betrayed me. They stuck it in me. And watch this turn into supply chain, go from first to worst to the point they're under investigation by the FBI. They went the same way as the football team. And I'm like, so Jay Hill gave me hope. So, I'll write a book. I have written a book, I call it Snowball's Chance in Hill. I want you to think about this. Most corrupt, worst football program in the United States. The first marquee player that comes here, there were 2 TJs, by the way. The other TJ, what a player. He played in the NFL. Played linebacker for the Chargers and the Cowboys. Same team. Those 2 TJs, they were the first ones. I remember when Rashid got here, I'm like, what the fuck? I told Josh Davis, who the fuck's that? He says, Rashid Shaheed from San Diego? The marquee sprinter? Yeah, because I saw him running. He says, yeah, that's him. Oh, he's going to run track here. No, he's running foot. He's going to play. What? He's playing football here? The only coach in the country that gave him a scholarship. Okay? Jonah Williams, the only freaking coach that gave him a scholarship. Abraham Williams, the only coach. Jack Kelly, who's down there now. We go on. How about Hester? He'll be in the NBA or the NFL. You're going to have 10 guys in the NFL. Jay Hill recruits in that short window. Of course, Jay Hill had to leave here. He couldn't do it no more. Who the fuck could with this corrupt ass program? And he bolted. Went to BYU. He's from there. He had to. These guys weren't going to. About money? I don't think it was about money. I think it was about culture. What he did here, legend. And I want people to understand, why did I promote all these players and podcasts and do all this fucking work for these players? Karma, baby. Did any player in the history of this school ever do anything for, or any coach? And I'm not a fan of coaches. I do not like coaches. I like any of them. I really don't. I like Jay as far as what he's did here, but they're arrogant, they're overpaid, and I don't like what goes on with the college athlete. I think it's, they should be all paid across the board. I mean, it's a lot of arrogance to feed their fucking egos, but not Jay. A guy got all stupid with me about Jay Hill over there. I said, I will fight you. I will literally fight you. That's the greatest coach in the history of this school, bar none. No one even. So, he won't, will he get drafted? I doubt it, but just get his foot in the door like Rashid. So, Maxwell Anderson. And I got to tell this story about Winston Reid. Same with Winston Reid. He's the only one that got a scholarship was here. His dad played here back in the day when I was this professor here. So, Winston Reid's mother passed away of cancer, and I found that out. I didn't know. When I found out, his dad told me. I have all those folded paper cranes from the Stewart Library. I held the real folded paper crane. I'm the guy out at the Enola Gay hangar. That's where the Enola Gay flew when they bopped Hiroshima, flew from Utah. I'm part of that committee. Her niece reached out to me. Don't you think that's a marquee event that Weber State and everybody else would show up to? Here I'm full of cancer, 7th grade. My dad nuked to death in Nevada test site, and I get a hold for. She started to cry when she came up to me. She reached out to me, to us, and agreed. International media all over. So they're folding paper cranes during COVID down there, and I'm like, I can get a real one. Not interested. So, sun got my eyes, coach. So, I found out. So they folded hundreds, if not thousands of them. Had them chained all over in there. They were going to throw them away. I said, you can't throw those away. You want them? Yeah. So, I made lays out of them. I saw him one day, and I had one in my bag, and I reached in my bag, and I says, here, that's for you, Winston. I found out about your mom. Don't you ever forget about her. I will never forget this. After the game, the sunset in fall can get so epic here that it'll blow your mind. It got the orange aura all through here. I got my camera, and this is when he gave it to me. And the whole field, the sky, the ground, I want this incredible, brilliant orange. And Winston and his traditional brothers, cousins, family did their traditional dance and got down there. You could hear their voice. My buddy says that they could hear their voices booming over at Smith's that runs the supermarket 2 blocks away. So epic, so emotional. It's a thing that I will absolutely never forget that day. Winston and his family doing that. But the fact, I just walked over there. And I know I'm controversial, and I know I'm too hot to handle, but I'm a PhD. I'm a research PhD. I'm a scholar. That's the way we have to fucking be. As a real sports, it just happened. Kevin, come here. Maxwell. That's what I got. That's what I got for now, am I done? I won't do podcast football this year. No. Not after what happened here. I'm disgusted. I'm pissed off. They let Abraham Williams get away from here. He'll be a superstar, but this guy For you NFL scouts, he reminds me of TJ to a T. He's got the same disposition. He plays just like him. They're so similar, it's unbelievable in their style. He's locked down. I mean, his records here are right there with T. His deflections, his lockdown fucking corner. He's him, I'm telling you. I'm telling you, he's that fucking good. He reminds me exactly of him. And so I think it's such a feather in Jay Hill's cap. And, Jay Hill ain't ever going to do anything for me. None of these people can do anything because I'm too hot to handle and I'm really hard to figure out. I get that. The Fukushima disaster, my Krantz organic PhD, which is probably the greatest PhD in history. New knowledge is really tough. People like me, I feel like I'm the new Semmelweis. And if you don't know who Semmelweis is, germ theory. This used to be the number one biology school in the country, the number one finance, the nursing school saved me is right here. I mean, the bone marrow transplant I was in only hires nurses from the bone. So people don't know. They're like, Kevin Blanch, they don't get it that I was given 2 months to live with less than 1% chance to live. I come from a family doctor. Thomas, a famous artist, his office right over there. I mean, I'm 7th generation Ogden. I'm so fucking Ogden, it's unbelievable. I've been connected with Weber State. I started out as college here as a BI student when I was 16 years old. I've been here the whole fucking time. I didn't plan on this to, YouTube came around. I says, well, we'll podcast, do the play-by-play. Me and Manny did it. We took on a lot of tough subject matters. But this path and this turnaround. And then, of course, I wanted to document the incredible story of Dylan Jones. Of course, Damian Lillard, Jerry Carding. I love Weber State basketball. I'll always love. I just talked to Blaze just now. I said, you coming back? Yes, plan, I mean, I don't give a fuck about coaches. I really don't like them. I think they're arrogant. I remember my old coaches. I mean, they were abusive as fucking hell too. I was a distance runner, a good one. I used to run against Eyestone. Did you know Ed Eyestone's from right here? Grew up right in these neighborhoods. Yeah, that guy, BYU coach, ran in the 3 Olympics. I used to go out and me and him both run the half. What a great dude. What a great fucking coach. I can't believe I said that. Jay Hill, what a great fucking coach. Now, as far as people in person, I don't give a fuck if any of these fuckers do anything for me. I really don't give a fuck. It doesn't matter. That's not what it's about. It's about taking the higher road in your fucking community. People don't get that. I'm old school. And so it isn't like I got stuck here. And a good place to get stuck. Beautiful South Island, Utah. Hospital's right there. My doctors are right there. I have dozens of them. So I think it's an incredible fucking story. How about Adam Rodriguez in the USFL just tearing up? The greatest defensive player in the history of this school? Will I ever watch? That's easy. That's easy. Adam Rodriguez. Jonah Williams. Oh, fuck, what about NFL played a clip on week 3 or 4 or 5 on the 5 top plays in the NFL. 3 of them were Weber State players. TJ, deflection to save the game in the end zone. Rashid Shaheed on Jordan Love's fucking opening act at Lambeau to the house on that incredible kick return. Jonah Williams with that 17-yard sack, boom, one-handed takedown. Jonah Williams was not drafted. Neither was Rashid. So the 2 players from this team last year in the NFL, maybe 3. Mr. Atagi's from right here. My grandson has this great defensive poster, and I said, how did you get number 5? Eddie HECKARD's freaking. He don't sign for shit for nobody. Most people are afraid to talk to him. You got to wear a football helmet and even go say hi to him. He's a beast. He says, Atagi made. He's got a shoe hang on to that. He'll be a superstar in the NFL. All these Jay Hill players will. Jack Kelly, he recruited him. I mean, all these players that Collins, he's down there at BYU now. And I never thought I'd root for BYU, but I root for those guys because I root for players. I'm not in it. So I think Maxwell Anderson is, I think he'll be a superstar in the NFL. I really do. Give him a chance. And you play back the tape, Your Honor. Who's the first place on earth that told you that Rashid Shaheed would be a fucking NFL super? One person you're looking at. Now, none of those people can do anything for me. I don't really give a fuck. That ain't what it's about. So how about OPETA? Like, what a badass. He stands very high school. My granddaughter goes to Stansbury High School. So I wanted to get this up. This is what I got for all my work for all these years at Weber State. By the way, go Abraham Williams up at Idaho. I want to get this, so I want people to understand what the situation was here. Manny got pissed and bolted. What an IT guru. So you think about this. Rashid Shaheed, the first player in the history of the Pro Bowl, undrafted. He's making the league a minimum. Fuck. His contemporaries are making 20, 30 million a year. TJ, the highest paid nickelback probably in the history of the NFL. Right here. Weber State. What a fucking story. What a story. Big Sky football. By the way, Bland, who holds the record for the all-time, season pick sixes, he had one on that fucking field. Right there. Interception. He played for Sac State, remember? So, yeah, they're Big Sky. So, congratulations, TJ. What a path. What a story. Like mine. I said, I didn't get fortune. I got some fame. A lot of fame. Probably the greatest PhD in modern history since MOS. Well, no doubt. Got viciously attacked. I sure didn't get fortune. But that's okay. I got my fucking life. Karma matters. So go. Thank you, Maxwell. See you in the NFL, brother. Just like I will my friend Dylan Jones in the NBA. Stay in tune.